And the World Golf Hall of Fame member joins us now. Ben, I'm curious about the conversation you had with Bill and Tom Pashley, and what were the conversation points like, and how quickly was the answer yes, that this was something you and Bill wanted to take on?
Well, I'll tell you, this has been a long time coming, Damon. I've been on the site one time, and it was before the 2014 Open at Pinehurst. This is a golf course that we've entertained on the piece of property that was built a long time ago called the Pit. Dan Maples of the Maples family from Pinehurst did that golf course, and we went out and scouted it out. We have a different routing that we proposed. The sand is there. Some very, very nice trees are there. It's interesting that it's right next to Tom Doak's new number 10 golf course, which is right near it. But Tom's course is very open, a much bigger piece of property. But we're very excited about what we've seen. So we're anxious to start clearing later this fall. And it's an honor to do anything at Pinehurst. I think y'all know that.
Yeah, Ben, you and Bill obviously restored the number 2 course prior to that 2014 Open. You're a historian of golf as well. What does it mean to you to actually work in a town like Pinehurst, given what it means to the history of American golf?
Big pressure, because I've seen Pinehurst a long time ago, and there has been volumes of things written about how Donald Ross loved the number 2 course, as well as all the work that he did around Pinehurst. He was fascinated with sand, of course, being from Scotland. He found it was ideal for drainage. Sand, as you know, Eamon, it's a blessing anywhere you can find it. It's such a medium that it makes drainage so much easier. You can move it. Golf and sand seems to have gone together from the very beginning. So we look for green sites first, and link holes together. And I swear to goodness, Bill Coore, my partner, is and the very, very best at routing. It's one thing to find individual characteristics of individual holes, but to link them up together, I think there must be a theme and something you work very, very hard on, and try never to repeat yourself. So it's all fun and fascinating, but to find your way around is the trick of it.
Well, on that note, Ben, I was fortunate to play golf with you and Bill at the opening of Streamsong Red, also on a property that had a former life in mining with all those deep reservoirs of sand that you're talking about. Are there any echoes from Streamsong that we might see at Pinehurst number 11, at least in the versatility and the options that you will have?
Well, I think the similarities of sandy features will always be there. That's what is possessed on this piece of property. You want to give people options. You sure do. You have diversity of holes. You vary your par 3s in length. You vary your par 4s in length. Occasional par 5, but they have to fit on the ground. I just remember a distinct line that Donald Ross wrote a long time ago. And he said, make your holes fit the ground. He said, there's no other way. That was pretty stark, but he very, very much believed in natural features and capitalizing on them. It's a goal that we work wherever we work. It has to fit. We try not to fight the land. It's always been one of the things that we come to mind. We would rather pass on a piece of property that we know that we'd have to tremendously disfigure it. So that's how we work.
You and Bill have built some of the most acclaimed courses in the last 30 years, Ben, on spectacularly different pieces of land, whether it's, Cabot Cliffs up in Nova Scotia or Friars Head, Kapalua, Sand Hills. How would you distill your design philosophy that you guys have? How, in what simple terms could you explain how you guys go about it?
We first of all, you obviously you obtain a map, but maps are not entirely accurate, Eamon. We very much find that the best way to do it is to go out and walk, and just walk and walk and walk, and try to try to take everything in so far as soil types, undulations, prevailing winds. You ask questions of let's say people who work on golf courses in a certain area, and you try to absorb any information that you can that makes things comfortable. As I say, we don't try to fight the land. There's places where a natural course might evolve. And there have been wonderful golf courses that have taken a lot of work to hammer them into submission, but we're just not comfortable with that. We know that there's so many talented people in the business that have taken inferior ground and made beautiful golf courses with them. But we just prefer to make a light imprint, as it were. So there's a certain look about courses that, proportion, balance, bunkers, and very much proportions are what we're after.
Ben, so much in life is about inspiration. You told me years ago you would take annual trips to Shinnecock and National just to walk the land and to play and to kind of let those beautiful designs wash over you for inspiration. How important are those original designs and those old school Long Island golf courses still important and inspirational to you?
Vitally important. Damon, I was really lucky in that I came out of Texas when I was like 15 years old, and I made my first trips up east to start playing golf, and I just fell in love with the eastern golf courses around Boston and New York, and I got to visit. Even when I was playing on the tour, I would make side trips to go see a golf course that I'd read about, and there's no substitute for being on those sites, and you get in your mind, you say, what makes this special? It always looked to me like golf holes always fit the land, bunker sizes, bunker looks, sizes of greens, diversity, short par fours always sort of abound. I love short par fours. I think they add a great element. And then some tough holes as well. But I just became enamored of a traditional look. And I've read, my head's been in a book a lot. And it's been a joy in my life.
Ben, you've always had a great affinity for Augusta National, not just from having won there twice, but also from its architectural standpoint as an Alistair Mackenzie golf course. Is there one hole out there, since the audience is intimately familiar with that golf course, what would you say is the most underrated hole out there that doesn't actually get the appreciation it deserves?
I'll say this, Eamon. I think the hole and the green that doesn't get a lot of attention is number 17. 17 was a green that was built by Perry Maxwell, who was in business with Dr. Mackenzie a long time ago, and he had finished the course. But that green is a wonder. It has a raised plateau in the middle, very subtle, but it divides the play between the left side of the green and the right side of the green. The right side of the green is very slippery. And if you putt from the left side of the green to the right side of the green, it's extremely fast. and the speed gets away from you. But very exacting. You come over that front bunker, but if you'll find a lot of and back through Masters history that 17 has held itself very well. There've been some late mistakes there, been some birdies there. It's a green that doesn't get much scrutiny, but it's a marvel. If you've seen a lot of Perry Maxwell greens over the years, that's a beauty. That's a beauty there.
Ben, you talked about how mindful you are of this opportunity to build number 11 with Bill. I'm curious, when you guys have boots on the ground and you start building this golf course, how much will you look around and peek at the other courses in the area for a reminder, maybe pop over to number 10, or will you have the blinders on and not be too influenced by what's been built or going on around your golf course?
Oh no! I tell you what, when we were there, we went to number 10. I've seen number 10, built by our friend Tom Doak, and a wonderful girl named Angela Moser, who's a great shaper in her own right. She's on the dozer. She does a lot of work for Tom. It's a completely different piece of property. It's very open. It's vast. Ours is a little more intimate. But that's just the way the ground lies. We have more vegetation. We've got sand. They've got sand too, but I think it will be a nice complement. But they're very different. So I think it's, and in the Sandhills region of Pinehurst, it's, thank goodness it is possessed of sand, but the ground features, the ground undulations are different.
Ben, it's always great to spend some time with you. We always learn something from talking to you. And when you're building this golf course, please keep in mind, for guys like us, the fairways need to be really, really wide. So don't disappoint us on that one.
I appreciate it, fellas. We try to make courses playable.
Your definition of playable and ours, two very different things, Ben. Enjoyed the time.
Pleasure. Thank you, guys.